Good morning, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy. I'm coming to you live from Applewood Station, where it is a lovely 9 degrees and relatively nice out there. It's supposed to be 16 today in the Mile High City, which is a nice, happy, lovely temperature. Today, my primary job is to scan my notes in because I have a final this afternoon. So I'm going to put on some music and we're going to go over there and see if I can't get my other area working. We'll have to see. There's a car. Watch the cars. All right. What we're doing is straightening up this area over here so that we can get to the light section of this. I don't even think I've set up this place to be usable in a while, which is kind of frustrating. All of the lights. This is the camera. Watch this. Let's see if I can get the camera to work. That's at least creative. I call that creative. All right. Let's see what's going on here with other cameras. Obviously, I don't think we've got anything going on with the drawing monitor. Just shows what's going on, which is an infinite number of these. Okay, no problem. The work desk monitor is this guy, which is outside, right? So what do I call that last one? Kind of feel like this should be called the work desk monitor, right? Because this is work desk. Like we've got a third camera. I'm just trying to figure out how to get it to work. The work camera's mic, though, you're picking me up from way over there on the work camera mic, which doesn't really pick up much of anything. Ah, we've gone insane. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. All right, so looking for a video capture device. That's the desk camera. I don't know where we're going here. Let's see. Create new. Logitech ball camera. It's like got a ball. Good morning, Brent. This one? Nope. This one? Nope. How about this one? Nope. I'm poking around. Where is the actual video from that camera? I mean, I've got the virtual camera. That's useful. Not what I'm looking for, though. All right. Let's go see whether that camera's plugged in or not. Time to go wander around, pull wires. Figure it out. That's this gray wire right here. Right? I don't know. It does feel like it's kind of... Oh, no, it's not plugged in. That does definitely make a difference. I mean, I'm just saying. And also running rapidly out of spots to plug stuff in, which, you know, is an issue. I admit it. My cat has gone insane, as usual. Oh. Let's see who's plugged in and who's not. Who's plugged in and doesn't need to be plugged in is the question. We need to plug in. All right. Possibly. I'm questioning Starship's functionality at the moment. They're having real problems with it. We'll see. I mean, it could happen. Anything can happen. There we go. That should get us up and powered. Let's see what we get in here. Now, we will. There we go. That's that camera. That's this camera. That's the camera we're looking for. All right. So now we can configure this page to be something other than this. There we go. We'll do this. Put that there. Not you. We'll move this to right here. There. Move that back up there. And we'll have to figure out what the heck this one's doing, but at least for right now, we can put that there. And if nothing else, it's showing at least part of the background. It's great. Right. Yep, we got everything. I don't know, work desk camera's not bad. Let's go ahead and head over there and set it up, though. Because it's looking at the ground, or I don't know where it's looking. wherever it's looking, it's not looking anywhere useful. This little like thing. I'm seeing we have a problem with that. That's fine. I'm going to do this. Oh, that's not working either. Could just put it with light. So, I know you're all getting seasick. I get it. It is spherical. There. And that way, it is sort of looking straight down on the work area. It's going to be higher up here. Which didn't end up higher up. This is not working like I want it to. I'm just going to put it on a control arm. So we will pull this down. So we will be, let's see, do that, that. I'm just trying not to make you guys seasick. You know what the button on the side does. There's a button. All right, move the arm into place because this is what's going on here. All right. This guy's not even plugged in. This shouldn't surprise me. Means you guys can't really hear me. Not like that's going to help any, but hey, yeah, we'll get started. It is a start. Well, at least we're getting started over here. I mean, we've got some going, some. I turned it sideways. That's the next question. I could get it just like this. That's this arm. Secure it. Like so. Just be stuck to the arm. Great. That's all right. Well, on that issue. All of the tapes ended up over here. Somebody's using a chainsaw. Computer, lights. Well, lights aren't on, but they are. Right there, that piece. Yeah. Over. So, and one more up and over. And it's janky, but it'll get the work done today, which is kind of important. What do we need to do? Work done today. Pull this way. This up, out of the way. And then this back. So you should see all of the screen, albeit sideways. Perfect. Then I'll come back over here. Like that's gonna work. And I'll go and take you and I'm going to shrink you down and turn you sideways, like so. Then, at least for right now, we can see pretty much all of what I'm trying to work on in a blurry, sort of way. Move this over here. And do this. Make it smaller. There. I can actually probably make this guy bigger. Work. There we go. There. I don't know who's out there with the whatever. Somebody's out there with a whatever. The other thing is, I can get this back up and running. That's a side note. But give it a shot. And hopefully this microphone's on. But odds are good it's not. We'll work on it later. But if the microphone is on, you can hear me. If the microphone's not on, it's also okay. All right. First things first. We have to this. All of my notes from class need to be photographed. Yeah, but do you hear me like I'm close to that microphone, or do you hear me like I'm not close to that microphone? Yeah. That light back there. All of these need to be put into my hard drive, put onto my hard drive so that I can make sure that they're in the right spot. Because I assume I will be using these notes later, not just for today. Even though today I do have an anthropology, cultural anthropology final. I finally made it to China, which was an interesting thing because Chinese has not really changed much in 5,000 years. And so I loved my bioanthropology class, but I've got to admit, I am super happy to be done with that, getting up at 6 a.m. for that class. The rest of it was awesome. 6 a.m. sucked. I get sick. So I get for trying to plan ahead. This is what he's going to want to know the most about. We've got a final today, and I'll bet you he's going to be harping in, not harping. That sounds like he's picking, but the thing he's going to be really big on is going to be capitalism, globalism, the way commerce works. Because there's a lot more to commerce anthropologically than there is in the average everyday thing. And that's it, guys. I actually ended up with like 5 extra spare pages. All right, we're out. I'll wait for that to trickle through to the system. Good morning. Morning, Ray. Good morning, Jan. The camera looks like it died. Or no, it's fine. Okay, no problem. We'll switch back to mains here. All right. Hope everybody's doing good today. We have a cultural anthropology final this afternoon. So I will be doing cultural anthropology. And the reason that I just took pictures of everything was because I've got to figure out how I'm going to sort everything. And they all go into their own little folders on here, which is awesome. I've got my own little folders for things. Which is what we're about to do. My first semester is about to be put to bed, which is nice. And it's bittersweet too, because I actually really rather enjoyed my classes. And so it's kind of like, well, that's sad. So we'll get there. Some of your classes sucked. Yeah. I hear that. So far, knock on wood, I've enjoyed my introduction to stuff. So it's been nice because they didn't exactly suck, and that's always been nice. I see that I have to go all the way down to make it turn around and go the other direction. Oh, they're already here. Didn't expect that. They're already here. There we go. I will move them all over. Most of your information's outdated. That's not good. Actually sounds bad. Fundamentally so. Why is it outdated? Is that just the nature of your college, or? Man, the things I had to learn. I'm kind of glad that my bio teacher wasn't so strict on some of the stuff. Bio could have been miserable. Totally could have been miserable. Just the nature of your school. That's a bummer. It really does suck. I mean, the thing that really is something I'm learning being in a science is that the science is ever evolving. Things are always changing. And so being outdated is not good at all. And of course, being outdated means that, you're you had a philosophy class. I don't know. I kind of like philosophy. Makes you think outside the box. You don't have to change your views or opinions, but I like the idea that it helps you think outside the box. I want to talk about a thing. You attended the class only 3 times. Right? Check this guy out. Like, here's biology, right? Talking about primates and their order and their taxonomic ranks. And we start talking about their genus and the typing and how you write them and how you always capitalize them, like you always capitalize the H in Homo, but not the S in Sapiens. Like, this is really funny. And then, of course, we've got Strepsirini and Haplorini, which are the different types of monkeys. And then tarsiers or outliers. But yeah, and I talk about like the lower incisor comb and a grooming claw, which is part of how you can tell some of the differences between these. And then we move down to the anthropoids, which then are Platyrrhine and Catarrhine. And I mean, it's just like really, I learned a lot this last semester. Like, I learned the ranks and taxonomies of monkeys and humans, and we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of things. I got a whole bunch. And I had to learn about Y5 molars. Oh, what's in their mind all the time? Yeah, I feel like if you have a class of which it is on philosophy, you should be asking questions, not telling. My philosophy is blah. Well, okay, but what's anybody else's philosophy? Yeah. Well, I mean, but all of us do. My entire view on all kinds of stuff has changed simply because I am a scientist studying cultures. And now I kind of have a better picture of how things are going and why things are going. And you learn things like sometimes people just be mad. They've been spun up, people make them mad, and they want to be mad. And you can't say, oh, hey, maybe this is X, Y, or Z, because then they'll just be mad at you because you're taking the other side, even if you're not taking the other side, you know? Pottery changes to classical. Once you hit the classical age of Persia, this is, we got into Persia. Boy, we got into Persia in archaeology. And that's where my professor is working at the moment. Like he's working in Persian sites. And so, boy, oh boy, we got a lot of information because was out there. He was just out there not that long ago. He was actually in Israel on a Persian site. He's got an interesting view on the entire Palestinian-Israeli conflict because he's not angry at anybody. He's very concerned about everybody, which I found very interesting. Which I think is really what's happening to me. I've stopped becoming angry, and instead I'm just concerned. I'm worried about all of them, everybody, the whole 9 yards. Mohenjo-Daro. That's a big city. Yeah, I think so too. I feel like that's a better place to be. I mean, it's sad, but it's a better place to be in general. Just worried, worried about people, worried about what's going on. That's a much better. Are ethnographers objective? Should they be? No, we're not going to be objective. There's no way we can be objective. We might as well just accept it. If nature calls, take a message. Wait, that's not going to work. I always think that that's a good idea, and then I'm just like, well, no, never mind. All right, still clipping pictures. Clipping and sorting and clipping and sorting. Got all of these like where I got halfway down the page, and then the problem is you can't tell whether your professor is going to talk for a long time and you're going to need like many pages. Do you think we suffer from an evolutionary delay? Culturally, I think we spent a lot of time delayed out and it depends on which culture. I think your cultures over there on that side of the world didn't delay that much. Western culture delayed a lot through the 1000s. There's a lot of delay. But as far as evolutionary, like as in evolving humans, we are moving at a pretty good rate. The biggest problem with evolution is that it is, from our point of view, remarkably slow, but from the planet's point of view, very, very fast. So, I mean, just looking here, This is the history of the Earth, effectively, right? Not totally, but from the Devonian period through the Carboniferous, Permian, Jurassic, Triassic, Cretaceous. But the thing that's amazing about all of this, here's the Jurassic era. That's from 200 million years ago, right? We evolved in the Holocene, which is only 11,000 years ago. So, I mean, hominids appeared only really 5 million years ago. And if you think that the Tyrannosaurus Rex wandered the Earth, 201 million years ago, the first birds didn't show up until 145 million years ago. So, I mean, part of that, it's interesting you would ask that question about evolution when I had this page of evolution right here where we talk about everything. Here's the Chicxulub impact where the asteroid struck Earth and wiped out 85% of everything on the planet. Anything over 55 pounds was killed in that ensuing disaster. Which means if there had been hominids on Earth prior to the impact from the asteroid, we would have died. And then the Paleocene, we show up, and the mammals begin to spread out. And then the Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene. Once the Miocene starts showing up, we actually have hominids. Pleistocene, we end up with the genus Homo. And then the Holocene is us. And then now, today, is the Anthropocene. Because we messed everything up. We zorched the whole thing. We screwed up the world. And I don't know, Ray, if that answered your question. I mean, and if it didn't, maybe I just didn't understand. I think that we are still evolving slowly, but we're evolving. I think it's just that we won't evolve fast. That's why in Bellatrix Rising, we still have people of color in different colors, because I don't think they would all blend together inside 500 years. I don't think we would be able to blend out, even if we were all stuck in one room, essentially. I still think we would have we would still have that. We'd still be coming out with different colors of skin and things like that. Here's where I started working in China. And we started talking about the different eras. We were south of you, though. They didn't talk about anything north of the northern Chinese border. And that's simply because the upper Russian and Mongolian cultures were still tribal. And this was all about ancient civilizations. So this was about any civilization that had reached state mode before, say, 1500. See, this isn't even that. I do too. China's pretty. China has some very pretty areas. Some of the culture is just astonishingly beautiful too. It's actually kind of funny. China's on my visit list. I want to visit China. And I was talking to my buddies about that, and my buddies are like, we can't visit China because they're military and they're not allowed to go to China anymore because it's a security risk. But me, I'm a scientist. It's not a big security risk. And we have a different agenda. 100 of them? You mean hundreds of them? Are you talking about their cultures? Because there are so many cultures in China. But the thing that is fascinating about Chinese, and especially the language, and it really is fascinating to me, is, yep, you're not allowed to go there either. But I can because I'm a scientist. Yeah. It's because it's huge. It is huge. China is so big. The number of cultures and the number of different kinds of people. And what is fascinating to me is that they have managed to impose a language consistency. Yep, you're not alone. You're not alone. It's you and a bunch of my other buddies too. So many of you guys are not allowed to go to China. And that's, again, I'm not mad, I'm just concerned. But it worries me, you know? Like, that's all. I really, especially now that we took this archaeology class, there's so much of Chinese history that I'm actually really interested and fascinated, and I want to go over there and look around and see what they've got and what kind of things are happening. States and power. Here we go. This is when my cultural anthropology went into power and control class, and how power is manipulated and maneuvered. But yeah, like I said, the more I learn about people, the more I just get worried. And the less I get mad, the more I get worried. Yeah. Well, I have hope that someday we will get over all of our stupid, petty fights and make it again so that we can all wander around freely between all these nations. We don't have to worry about it. Because the average, as my anthropology professor says, the average Joe Bag of Donuts. Oh, this is it. Transaction and reciprocity. He's going to be into that today, so I better go over those notes. Yeah. And ethnically, that becomes an issue. But I'm sure that the average person doesn't care. You know? And the average person, I mean, you probably will find one or two who, are cranky because of your ethnicity. But I think for the most part, people don't care. It's kind of like here. There are people here who are super Islamophobic. There are people here who are super anti-Semite. But they're very, in the grand scheme of things, they're rare. There aren't that many of them. We just make a big deal of it because we're working really hard to get rid of it. And we want it to be done. We want it to not be part of who we are as a culture. We don't want to have to say, are you X, Y, or Z person? What race are you? What culture are you? We don't want to say that. We just want to say, hi, you're people, right? Welcome here. Because that's the way I feel. I'm like, you're people. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. You're just people. People like me. We're all people. It's a good thing I drew pictures on this, because I just have a page with no marking as to what class it belonged to. But we're talking about the Hopewell period of the American Indians, or Native American Indians. So, Native American tribes. So that must obviously be my archaeology class. Because that's where we talked about the Hopewell culture. Yay. I want to visit China. It'll happen. My best bud wants to go to base camp on Mount Everest. And I was like, I don't really have an interest in visiting base camp at Mount Everest, but I have a lot of interest in visiting Kathmandu. I think that would be so cool. I'd go visit the people, eat the food, talk to folks, get their stories, learn about all kinds of stuff. It'd be awesome. See, Ray, that's kind of what happened with me when I went to Japan. Even though Japan is friendly, it's a friendly nation, like as far as politically and hostilely, they're not hostile to us or anything like that. I had an image, even if it was a positive image, I had an image. Oh, well, maybe. Native American culture would Mongolian culture at some point. So Mongolian culture would have been the prototype. Because genetically, the Native Americans have the same genes as your culture does. That C3 gene and on the mitochondrial side, C3 is the gene that you've got that Native Americans have too. And so, yeah, to some degree. I mean, teepees are very close to yurts in style and design. You can see an artistic evolution. It's hard to tell though, because of course Mongolian yurts have evolved as well. So there's what we call divergent evolution. So you have where you guys were both the same, and then you split off into two different divergent trees where both sides were evolving. And so, yeah, they do. Probably because if there's the old adage, there's an American saying that says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So if that works, keep going with it. There's no reason not to. You know, there's very little reason to do that. Homo rudolphus. Rudolphus. Oh. Mm. I guess that depends. Ethnically, as far as people go, we change to adjust to our environment. So the way that we look, whether it's ethnically Asian or ethnically white or ethnically whatever, it's all about us adjusting and adapting to our environments over thousands of years. So my skin is light because Europeans didn't need as much melanin. Melanin is the thing in our skin that turns our skin black, but it also makes our skin more resistant to sunshine. The lighter our skin, the more sunshine we absorb, and thus those who lived in Europe where there wasn't a lot of sunlight became lighter. But there's no difference between us other than that, because it takes an awful lot longer for our brains to change. And it doesn't take a long time for our skin to change. But all of the various adaptations that we have, all the things that make us look different, those are all adaptations. And so that's why it's silly to get mad at people for what they look like, because all that was just thousands of years of people adapting to a culture or to an area. Which is why Native Americans still look somewhat like Asians, because all of the Asian features are action and sea. So being near the water. And so that took many thousands of years to adapt to that. And then they've only been over here on our side of the world for a few thousand years. So it hasn't been long enough for them to change back or adapt totally to their culture. Moreover, as you were saying very in the beginning, Ray, we also are slowing our evolution down. Clothing changes everything, where we live, how we live, buildings, fire, things like that. That changes the nature of, yep, much, much later. Like only 23,000 years ago. Like not very long ago at all. Clovis culture was 23,000 years ago. Hi. What happened? Did you just crash? No. Where'd you go? There you are. In the grand scheme of things, 23,000 years ago, China was already in almost starting to, 23,000 years ago at the minimum. Well, the cultures evolve quickly. as far as um, our cultures will always evolve very quickly. That's just the nature of the beast. So, so we move quickly when it comes to culture. I mean, heck, think about it. Our cultures today are different than our dad's cultures and mom's cultures. I mean, like, we have different words already, you know? We already have sort of different ways of doing things and talking about things, and like, we're completely different most of the time. It's very funny. Ooh, we're making this mad. So, as far as speed of change of culture, especially if you think before the age of writing, writing changes everything culturally. Because before writing, you have to just hope that everybody remembers what your traditions are. And if you can't remember what your traditions are, the traditions die. And that's the way it goes. After writing, you can write all of those down. Mm. Mm. All right. Why are we not doing the everything's all low resolution? Why is everything so low resolution? What's going on? There we go. Much better. Why is everything low resolution? Archaeology. Archaeology. Who's our internet provider? American college is super expensive. Indus Valley, archaeology, Persia. Some days, like, the entire page is full of stuff. And some days it's not. But it is expensive. However, there are people who really want people to become educated. And so if you work at it, you can get help. Because sadly, I believe we all should pay for all education, because not paying for education just ends up with everybody being ignorant to being, no, I am paying for, no, there's nothing I can do. Damn it. I am paying for my school, but I'm actually having that problem right now because they were originally, I was paying for my school what? That's anthropology. That's archaeology. I keep putting anthropology instead of archaeology. And then I'm like, what? They're all anthropology. But that's been part of the problem that we've had all along, and that is, or that I've had, which is, originally I was getting a lot of help because it was my first degree, but I had a degree before, but they revoked it. They took it away because the school that I was in was a fraud. And now the problem we've got is that they've decided to recognize it, and that's not helping me any. Persia. And so that's part of going to college, looking down. No, it's not. We have a group of people in our culture who believe that going to college is a waste of time. Like you should go to a trade school and learn to be a plumber, but you can't just have a culture full of plumbers. It's great, you get all of your plumbing is always fixed. However, you need people who are working on the big questions. You need people who are looking at cultures. You need people who are looking at different aspects of things. And that's sort of the way it goes, and you kind of need that. Yes. And I don't even know if it really is a lot more per se. I mean, it could be, but I feel like that's I feel like there's just a lot of different kinds of jobs out there. You know what I mean? Like, we have a lot of jobs that are that are one or the other. But I also think that we borked our system a little bit when in the 80s, we kind of messed up our system a little bit and made it so that it was really, really, really cutthroat and into a very specific set of instructions. So we were kind of stuck with, this is bio. That's bio. Bio. And good. Hey, I did it right. But there's an entire thing where we shifted the way that we count on people and account for people. And so it ended up being one of those things where we had problems, and that was kind of an interesting issue. So anyway, maybe biggest problem I've got is that so far, everything that I do, everything I'm qualified for, everything that I'm capable of doing, if you will, as far as who I am, is very much determined by college in a lot of ways. Like I don't do, I mean, even now, I'm not qualified to work on electrical systems or whatever. I'll just shock myself. Won't be any fun. Who does that? And so, why would I Zorch myself? That seems like a bad idea, But even today, that's part of the problem is that, hey, there are different things, and we've got different kinds of qualifications and things like that now that are great. On the same token, you have a lot of jobs where you need a college degree. You can't be a manager in many jobs at all if you don't have a college degree. Doesn't mean that you can't be a manager ever, but for the most part, on most jobs, you need a college degree to be a manager. So you can be a grunt for your entire life, but if you want to make more than just level 1, you'll have to go get a degree. That's actually what happened to me. I was doing great. I was a reports analyst. I was reporting on things. I was a happy little reporter. I did all kinds of stuff, but I needed to make more money. And I was making $45,000, and the statement was, "You're lucky you're making $45,000. Most people don't make over $35,000 without a degree. You'll need to get a degree in order to make more money." And so I had to go to school, which is why I went back to school the first time. I didn't want to go to school. I was okay with being an artist that never needed a degree. I was totally fine with it. I was okay with it. But I also was not okay with making $45,000 and then being stuck there for the rest of my life, never being able to evolve past that. And that was where we were, and that was what was going on. And so, it was kind of one of those things. It was like, well, I wanted to do better than that. So unfortunately, that is where we ended up ultimately. And so now at least I feel like I have a reason to do the things that I'm doing. I mean, like being an anthropologist, that all makes sense now. This makes sense. This is something that I should have done a long time ago, yada, yada, yada. I feel very comfortable about it. it is. It's hard to tell what classes these are from. That's all from the same class. So, and I mean, I think that's great, but I think that people make a mistake thinking that you don't need college when sometimes you do, and that's just the way it goes. And I think that's an error that is often made. And that is sort of this error that we don't need college at all. We could just be fine without it. You can totally be fine as long as you don't want to make a lot of money. And you can make a lot of money without it. That sounds bitter. That's not what I'm after. You can make a lot of money too. It's one of those things where you have to really kind of put your nose to the grindstone and spend a lot of time. In other words, you kind of have to be in the pattern. Like, you start young when it's okay that you're not making a lot of money, and then work for a long time until you build the trust of your fellow workers and stuff like that. Then you become respected, and when you're respected, then you move up and you make more money and things like that. But if you need to start in the middle of your life, like I am, you got to start all the way down at $10 an hour, and I can't do that. I've got a kid. It's just, that's not a capable thing. That would be irresponsible. So, it's not to say that you can't. Just, I think that, and this is something that kind of aggravates me, because I feel like people are like, look, you don't have to go to college, except that I didn't go to college, and I didn't want to go to college. And all it really did was make sure that I spent the majority of my life being poor and not having a lot of available fundage and stuff like that. And that just made me bitter and angry. I think a lot of people are very successful without college. I think it's totally fine. I was not one of them, and I feel like that's more of a, and I think that the belief that you're fine if you don't go to college is sort of destructive, because I think what's happening is some of us have to go to college. And when things don't work right, people are like, well, just go be a plumber. Okay. But if I go be a plumber, I'm not going to end up with, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. This is a bitter thing. I'm feeling very bitter about this because a couple of things. One, when I went to college the first time, I did it out of anger and spite. I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to have to go to college. I felt pressured into being put into college because I couldn't make any money. I felt like nobody was going to give me a better job unless I went to college, yada, yada, yada. And then I went to college, and I don't really feel like I necessarily got a lot out of it, per se. But then I felt kind of like, after I got out of college, then they all just were trying to get my money, and it was not cool and stuff like that. And so I was bitter and angry there too. So, and part of this is I'm grumpy. I'm grumpy about the whole thing. So maybe I'm slightly biased, right? Which would make sense. I haven't exactly had a stellar experience. And this is actually from cultural. I have silenced the entire group because you're all like, whoa, he's a little over the top, isn't he? I swear I'm not this broken. I swear. You're working. I was just thinking you guys are like, all right, bro. It's like I'm completely grumpy about this particular thing. Fixed with gold. You know what? I'm not going to argue with either one of those statements. Both are true. Both are true. I approve of both of those statements. Kinsuru. To fix teacups with gold. Which is true. And the thing that I think makes me, now as an older person, I think the thing that makes me madder is that I didn't find out about this earlier in my life. But I mean, you think about the way Bellatrix Rising is as a comic, as a story, and you think about the way Tamerlane was. I have been enamored with culture and questioning morals and things like that for my whole life. And why didn't I discover cultural anthropology 30 years ago? You know? No, of course not. There's nothing wrong with being a plumber. And I don't mean to say that there's something wrong with being a plumber. I'm saying that it's not fair. The culture doesn't work in a way that's fair. Right? World building alone for it. What we say in culture is things like, well, you don't need college. You can always just go be, what are you doing? You're like, I'm mad. You don't need college. You just need to go be a plumber or be a whatever. And I'm like, well, except that I'm not a plumber. I mean, I could do it, but it would be be an unpleasant life. I don't know if crawling around is something I could do anyway, but that's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is I am not a plumber. It's a waste of my skills, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, I would be a bad plumber. I wouldn't do it very well. It's not good. It's not a kind of skill that I'd be good at. So I'd be really bad at it. And then it would be like so that's what I was saying. There's nothing wrong with being a plumber. There's something wrong with me being a plumber. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely nothing wrong with being a plumber. I'm not a plumber. And so all I'd end up with is I'd be in the wrong place doing the wrong thing. 2 months of star maps. Don't think my star maps are over. My star map days are not over. I will star map again. And I mean, like all kinds of things. I didn't know I was a teacher. I didn't know I enjoyed teaching. I didn't know that was a thing I liked doing. I had no idea. And I guess really what I'm mad, I think the most about is there has to be a way to sort of test a person when they are in high school and say, you know what, you're a whatever, you're a plumber, you're an electrician. Have you considered being a teacher? Have you considered, things like that? Absolutely not saying there's anything wrong with it. I say plumber because plumber is probably the worst job I could ever do myself. Like, that is probably the worst thing I could ever do. I'd be so bad at it. It'd be so horrible. It'd be terrible. It'd be a terrible thing. It'd be so bad. So that's why there's nothing wrong with someone else being a plumber. It's just something wrong with me being a plumber. I gotta go, guys. Because my ride is on their way. Oh yeah. If you want to see it, it's on Global Comics. Hey Brent, my buddy from school is on her way. You know what? I'll just put it up here. I'll get the link for you. Here we go, my friend. There. Because I gotta go. My buddy just said she's on her way. She's only 9 minutes away. So her being on the way means she'll be here in 9 minutes. Or now, 8 minutes. So I gotta go grab my paperwork. I've sorted everything. Everything's all sorted out. I'm ready to go over all my stuff. That's all right. I got it. You got it. I got it. We're good. I will see you guys all later. Thanks for talking to me, Ray. Thanks for talking to me, Brent. And yeah, no, I don't have any problem with plumbers. That's very important. I use that term because that's probably the worst job I can think of for me. Not the worst job. Ah, Red. I'm sorry, man. I'll see you later. We'll be back tomorrow, back tonight. But anyway, I gotta go. I will head to school. Wish me luck on my final. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.